Widen, get off it. This trade deal is for corporate profit. Widen, get off it. This trade deal is for corporate profit. Widen, get off it. This trade deal is for corporate profit. Widen, get off it. We're here today to call on Senator Wyden to oppose the Korea Free Trade Agreement.
That's right.
Folks know that this trade deal is the largest free trade agreement since NAFTA, and its effects are going to be the same as NAFTA. It's going to spell thousands of job losses here in Oregon. The federal government's own International Trade Commission predicts that this trade deal is going to increase the U.S. trade deficit, costing the nation jobs at a time when we can least afford it. The Economic Policy Institute predicts that the Korea Free Trade Agreement within 7 years will displace 888,000 American jobs. Now, even if some jobs are created, the jobs that are expected to be created are in low-wage industries like agriculture that often pay less than minimum wage, and the jobs expected to be destroyed are in high-tech, manufacturing, solar, the industries that are supposed to be Oregon's future. So, as you're going to hear, this trade deal not only hurts workers in Oregon, it also hurts workers in South Korea. The provisions that encourage the offshoring of jobs, be they special rights for investors, inadequate labor protections, deregulatory measures, also weaken the labor movement in South Korea. And so this is a trade deal that's all about Wall Street and corporate power over workers' rights, jobs, and good-paying wages.
Senator, hear what we say. Vote against this FTA. Senator, hear what we say. Vote against this FTA.
Our first speaker out of, I believe we have 5 today, is Mitch Besser. Mitch is a fantastic fair trade activist, and his background sort of dictates his interest in this issue.
Hi, my name is Mitch Besser. I was an employee of IGT, also known as International Game Technology, located in Corvallis, Oregon. IGT has over 4,000 employees and specializes in design, development, and manufacturing of slot machines and related casino networking products. I was working as a software engineer until this past summer, when, along with 50 of my coworkers, our office was closed down and our jobs were moved to Beijing, China. The Corvallis office used to be known as Acres Gaming, a small company that invented computer networking of slot machines to automate the accounting and bonus pool jackpots, a system exported worldwide. IGT was unable to duplicate Acres technology, so it made Acres Gaming an offer it couldn't resist in order to take over Acres' proprietary bonus pool technologies. My coworkers had various backgrounds at education levels. Mostly they consisted of employees with highly educated and technical backgrounds. I myself have 25 years experience and a master's degree in software design and development. Okay. Yeah, thanks. I started at IGT in August of 2008 at a rate of $90K per year. And after being unemployed for 3 out of the previous 6 years, a $90,000 per year job was not something I could pass up. However, to do so, I had to move away from my family, my friends, and my home in Portland. And after 4 months on the job in December of 2008, IGT announced it was opening an office in Beijing, China. We were told this was done because IGT could not find qualified people in the US to take these jobs, despite the fact that the greatest economic downturn since the Great Depression had just started. A new manager was assigned to my group, and he told me to give every task I could to the Chinese. The company brought newly hired Chinese employees over for a month at a time to be trained, and then sent back to China, and a new group was brought over. We also sent employees to China to train them on site if they had enough experience to do so. We were pushed hard. Often we worked for days at a time without being allowed to go home to sleep. And to motivate us, our division VP would tell us a story about when he was a software programmer. This is not a joke, he told us this. His wife had had a miscarriage, and he just dropped her off at the hospital and went right back to work because he was dedicated to the success of the company. Because he was, in December of 2009, an accidental leak occurred that IGT had planned to actually close the office. At the official announcement, of the closure, we asked if our jobs would be moved to China, and we were told no. Jobs were not being sent overseas. It was not offshoring. It was simply consolidation of offices. If anyone wanted to keep their job, all they had to do was move to the IGT Las Vegas headquarters. And the VP proceeded to then tell us how this was good for all of us, him and everyone else at the company. Later, when management saw how many people wanted to move to Las Vegas, they retracted their offer and said that only 7 of the 57 employees could keep their jobs, and 3 of those 7 were going to be the office managers, leaving 50 of us unemployed. We did have a handful of L1 visa contract holders from India, and they were going to be sent to China. However, their rate was dropped from a measly $7 an hour to $3 an hour. Korea is a technologically advanced country. There's no reason to think Oregon's high-tech companies won't see this as an opportunity to send work overseas. No amount of education will protect you from a manager willing to sell out your career and the company in order to increase his paycheck. The only solution is to stand side by side with our fellow workers in Korea and oppose unfair, short-sighted, and corporate-centric trade agreements.
Our next speaker is here all the way from South Korea. She is the Director of External Relations for the Korean Confederation of Trade Unions, the equivalent of the AFL-CIO in South Korea. She has over 20 years of experience as a union member with the Metal Workers Union, Kyung-Ran.
고맙습니다.
Thank you, everyone.
신자유주의가 우리의 대안입니까?
Is neoliberalism our alternative?
No!
FTA가 우리의 대안입니까?
What about FTA?
FTA는 우리에게 재앙만 가져올 뿐입니다.
FTA only brings us chaos.
우리와 아이들이 공정하고 자유롭게 살 사회를 파괴하고 빈곤을 확대할 것입니다.
It destroys our society where our children will live freely and fairly, and it expedites the growth of poverty.
노동자와 민중들에게 FTA는 희망일 수 없습니다.
For laborers and for common people, FTA cannot be hopeful.
FTA는 일자리를 빼앗고 복지 혜택을 줄일 것입니다.
It will greatly reduce our jobs, and it will also reduce social welfare of the people.
이제 우리에게는 행동이 필요합니다.
We need to act now.
한미 FTA 저지를 위해 노동자와 시민사회단체가 힘을 모아야 합니다.
We need to unite to fight against cross FTA.
지금은 끝이 아니라 시작입니다.
This is not the end, but a start.
FTA 저지에 함께 힘을 모읍시다.
Let's unite for anti-FTA.
Korea, Panama too. Workers say no. What about you?
Colombia, Korea, Panama too. Workers say no. What about you?
All right, everybody. Our last speaker before we do a little street dinner and get the show on the road is Madeline Elder, the President of Communication Workers of America, Local 7901, a longtime labor activist who gets not only how these trade deals hurt American workers, but workers around the world.
Thank you very much, Brother Stamoulis. Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Are you fired up? Can't take no more. Fired up? Can't take no more. Fired up? Can't take no more.
Can't take no more.
Great. That's right. In July 2010, the delegates to the CWA National Convention called on the administration to renegotiate the Korea-U.S. Free Trade Agreement to enhance the larger societal goals of economic justice, sustainable communities, and a sound environmental and human rights, including trade union rights. CWA also supports the Trade Act. The new proposed agreement does not meet any of the criteria adopted by CWA. This agreement gives investment and legal protections to large multinational big corporations which shift jobs offshore in search of the lowest labor and environmental costs and the highest profits. These protections could overrule the common good of all people on Earth in terms of the environment, healthcare, and so on. These corporations wish to have control over all national governments, the democracy for which we, the workers in the United States and Korea, have fought for. That's right. And that democracy would be smashed. Our current economic, with no counterbalance, multinational corporations will whipsaw workers, pit them against each other and nations to prevent and eliminate bargaining rights. As negotiated, the Korea-U.S. Free Trade Agreement does not create an economic or collective bargaining rights framework to support the aspirations of both U.S. and Korean workers. Our current economic crisis simply cannot support a trade agreement that does not address workers' rights in both the U.S. and in Korea, and that does not cost jobs in both the U.S. and Korea. The politicians who support the Korea-U.S. Free Trade Agreement belie their purported principles in support of democracy, human rights, and labor rights. Senator Ron Wyden, you must oppose this deal, or you will directly contribute to the loss of rights, jobs, the environment, and living standards of workers in Oregon,